It's Halloween, so it's time to reinforce your biggest fears. The Regenerators! The piano from Super Mario 64! Whitney's Meal Tank! And of course, bad games. Yakuza Dead Souls is a game that happened. Around the late 2000s and early 2010s, zombies used to be the rage all over the place. So I guess that Sega wanted to capitalize on that popularity. Maybe they thought it was a good idea to give its own shot to the genre, so instead of making a new House of the Dead, they chose the Yakuza series as its victim. I mean, it's not a bad idea. Weird spin-offs can be pretty fun, just look at Red Dead Redemption's of Death's Nightmare. That's a great DLC, but this is just... Wanna hear a funny story? The Yakuza series almost died in the West because of this game. And also because Sega has proven again and again that they do not understand the Western market. Dead Souls sold so poorly that it led Sega to believe that Western audiences don't care about the series. It was not until Sony stepped in and proved through a hashtag campaign that the West does indeed like Yakuza. This eventually led to the digital-only release of 5, and then the series gained the momentum it has today thanks to the success of 0 and 6. And you know, I hear Judgment actually sold very well. You can almost call Dead Souls a cursed game, but poor sales and the fact that it almost killed the series in the West are not the only things that gave it that reputation, so it's time to see the truth with your own eyes. Yakuza Dead Souls is a game about 4 deaths on an important mission, a non-canonical story where Kamurocho has been hit with unexpected zombie attacks. Dead Souls takes a huge deviation from familiar territory, this time opting on being a third-person shooter. No more punches, no more combos, just different weapons to cut your way through walls of zombies, and just like that they already started with grown foot. They got rid of the most satisfying thing in the entire series. The combat. If this were any other Yakuza game, I could spend minutes explaining the gameplay, the different characters, and the many upgrades, and here I can just sum it up as... it's just a shooter. Don't misunderstand, that alone is not a bad thing. I mean, shooters are not bad, but Dead Souls is one of the most incompetent ones I've ever played. It's hard to explain, this is one of those circumstances where you must play to really understand what I mean. The mechanics are horrible, aiming is very clumsy, it is either too slow or too sensitive. There are 2 aiming modes, but none of them is based on where the camera is looking. They go to the direction where the character is staring, and turning around is very sluggish, especially when there's tons of zombies cornering you. Very early in the game, you unlock a skill that instantly aims at the enemy's weak spots, and this only works when it feels like it. Sometimes it goes for the heads, as it should, and other times it just decides that aiming at the wall is much more effective. The camera is atrocious because no matter what, it constantly fights against you. It's like this game goes against every natural instinct I will have while playing any other shooter. There are times when the game tries to pay homage to its roots, and it just doesn't work. The combat that is a callback to the other games is so basic and unreliable, it is devoid of any possible enjoyment. Grabbing items for self-defense is next to useless, because they never aim at what you want to hit, and they barely kill when they do. The game tries to ease things up by giving you partners to aid you, but they do more bad than good. I just want to shoot this zombie, but this stupid AI keeps... I meant to say... this stupid AI just keeps getting in my... There are 4 playable characters, and unlike the other games, there is really no difference in terms of gameplay between them. They all have their own exclusive weapons to try to make them feel unique, but this doesn't do much because later down the road you can acquire other weapons that serve the same purpose or are more effective. A major shame because some characters make their playable debuts here, like Goro Majima. That's cool, but I'd rather be using his unique fighting style over a shotgun. Ryuji Goda, the best Yakuza antagonist, as declared by me, is surprisingly playable here. His missions were the most tolerable ones because he instantly has access to a metal arm that transforms into a Gatling gun. But that's not enough to save the game. As I said already, their slight differences don't do much to set them apart, not even in the special moves. Do you remember the hit gauge from previous games? That cool mechanic that allowed you to unleash the blasting moves on opponents depending on different circumstances? Some of them were very situational, but just unlocking them and seeing the animations felt like a reward on its own. Dead Souls gets rid of all of the hit moves and replaces them with the sniper gauge. This lets you instantly aim to specific hazards in the environment that will cause a lot of damage, but... All of these animations look exactly the same for every character. Only difference is a cinematic that plays depending on the object that you shot. There is no sense of satisfaction in pulling them off, and even so, just like the auto-aim, it only works when it feels like it. Look at this scenario. I have 1 kill already, okay? And there's approximately 8 zombies around the metal can. So let's go. And BAM! No kills. It's actually faster to just keep shooting normally. The only benefit that you get is saving a few bullets and maybe, just maybe, if this thing decides to work, the potential damage you can cause to unique monsters. Average looking zombies are not the only threats you'll come across, as there is a decent variety of unique ones to try to make things more interesting. You got your boomer from Left 4 Dead, the guy who doesn't work out at the library, or an eager zombie that calls an army of orbiters to defend her. Sadly, most of them come off as extremely annoying rather than challenging. The monkey fox that move way faster than your reticle, the emo zombies that look a lot like V from Devil May Cry 5 and dodge 90% of your bullets, the rock-covered monsters that can seriously corner you without a way out. Try, and I mean try as best as you can to not get surrounded by them. They embody the most annoying aspect in the series. Attacks that make you mash the button to get up again, only to get hit by another attack that does the exact same thing without giving you a chance to dodge over and over and over and over!
I'm sorry.
And the bosses, the main dish of all the games, are played with nothing but problems. They look like an actual threat, but they represent nothing. They're bullet sponges that take forever to die, they barely move at all, and when they do, they have predictable attack patterns that only come off as a surprise because of the awful camera, or because of the overwhelming amount of zombies attacking you, and some of them have annoying damage on contact with knockback packed in. They're not tests of skill, they're tests of patience, and you're gonna need loads of them. Dead Souls has a more mission-based structure to which I'm actually okay with. If you decide to start the main mission, the focus will remain solely on that, and in so many different instances you're told to be prepared for the frustration ahead. However, if you want to take a rest from all of that, you can freely explore the zombie fight Kamurocho and its outsides to your liking, but this brings, surprise surprise, another set of problems. The containment area is not fun, to put it lightly. Scarce entrances and exits, the tight spaces that make navigating confusing only get worse due to the awful camera. Annoying barriers that make you take unnecessary detours. I haven't even mentioned how terrible the frame rate is. Do you see this? That's how most of the game will run, like utter ass. Yakuza Dead Souls is one of those games full of layers with problems, and every time you peel one off, you find another one, and they just get worse the deeper you go in. If it's not the core gameplay, it's the zombies. If it's not the zombies, it's the camera. If it's not the camera, it's the frame rate. Do you see where I'm going with this? I have so many mixed feelings about this game. It is bad. Objectively bad. But I am dead serious. If you're a Yakuza fan, you will try your hardest to like this game. Because as incompetent as the game is, that doesn't mean that it is devoid of any good moments. The story on its own is fine. It has a savory degree of fan service. Seeing Majima and Akiyama team up to take down a monster, Kiryu beat him up zombies with his fists. Just the fact that Ryuji is alive in this game kept me engaged in his actions. I love these characters and seeing how they react to the fact that, well, there's a zombie apocalypse going on. I mean, just look at Majima, he's having the time of his life. The cutscenes alone are enough to keep your attention. Dead Souls doesn't fully get rid of everything that defines the Yakuza series. Outside of combat, there's still fun little activities and minigames to do. Problem is, Dead Souls doesn't have a unique minigame to give it an edge over the other ones. There is a shooting gallery, but with how sluggish the combat in this game is, this is, you know, not good. Okay, but to be fair, there is one little thing that I absolutely adore in this game. The debut of the karaoke song, Machine Gun Kiss.
I hate to tell you, Lewis, but that song debuted in Yakuza 4.
Well, that's unfortunate. Looks like I've been mistaken all this time. Huh. Okay, but you know what's genuinely great in this game? The side stories! You remember them, right? They were optional, entertaining mini dramas you could find throughout the story, and in Dead Souls they're pretty much the same, just adapting them to the zombie environments, and in consequence you get some of the most original yet hilarious side stories in the series, helping low-budget filmmakers to record a zombie movie, trying to buy a cure for the zombie virus, dating a zombie hostess, the list goes on. They're totally worth the time just because of how absurd they are, and because they faithfully keep that Yakuza essence in them. Amidst the sea of frustration and broken mechanics, there is stuff to look forward here. But you can only fully enjoy that if you're a Yakuza fan. I cannot recommend this game to anyone else. It is not a good shooter game, it is not a good action game, and it is definitely not a good Yakuza game. But you still don't want to hate it, just because at times it will remind you of everything that you love about the series, and there is some fun to be had with this game. Just as there is fun in dating Japanese zombie hostess. So, do you really think I'm cute?
ダメだねダメよダメなのよあんたが好きで好きすぎてどれだけ強いお酒でも歪まない思い出がバカみたい